The purpose of art is to expose the cracks in the system. So yung cracks, ito yung mga bagay na hindi mo natitinan ano yung nasa loob. But these are part of an erosion. Making a film is a process of discovery. Not only discovering the film, but discovering your collaborators and who they are as people as well. Huwag kang takot. Commit ka. Commit ka sa galaw mo. Kasi ramdam eh. Once you hesitate, ramdam eh. And hesitation comes out of fear, di ba? Growing up and the time that we were coming to the industry, hindi mo siya nare-realize na abusive pala yung industry. At least for me, the longer I practice, the more I realize na the process of making films is not much different from the act of living. The mark of a good film is pag pinanood mo siya, mapapasearch ka afterwards.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Behind the Seen podcast. At ngayon, sobrang bigat ng guest natin ngayong araw, guys. Theo Lozada, ladies and gentlemen. Direk, maraming salamat.
Hello, thank you, Direk. Salamat a lot for inviting me.
For the people who might not know you yet, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your backstory?
Okay. I'm Theo Lozada, a cinematographer by trade. I'm a cinematographer for 10 years now. Thankfully, and I'm still here, thankfully. Cinematographer does basically is you're in charge of telling the story of a film through visual means in collaboration with your directors and your other collaborators on set. So I guess that's a simple way of saying it, but a lot of it is simplistic kasi lahat din is, the keyword is always in collaboration siya with other people. So laging relationship siya with other departments. Yun yung ginagawa mo.
I'm just curious to know, like, why did you pursue film?
I would say aksidente lang din, direct eh. Kasi nag-start ako college, mass comm ako sa UP Mindanao. But all I knew was that I wanted to transfer to Diliman. And then, so I tried, in my head before, sabi ko mag-apply ako sa theater arts sa Diliman. Then I went to yung college, tapos meron lang talagang feeling na off. I can't explain why. So umikot kami sa Diliman, dumating kami sa College of Mass Communications. Tapos nakita ko may film. And then the college just felt safe. And it just felt right. Sabi ko, sige, apply ako ng film and then journalism as a second option. Pumasa ako sa film. Pero sabi ko, mahal daw to eh. So, alis na lang ako, mag-journal ako. Thankfully, in-encourage ako ng mom ko na try mo lang. Try mo for a SEM. Kung di mo magustuhan, then you can always transfer back to Jordan. And then I had the professor of film history, si Nick De Ocampo. So Nick De Ocampo, he was very passionate about cinema. Super passionate siya to the point na may iyak siya kasi he was doing all these things, chronicling yung history ng Philippine cinema. And then he felt that his work was being unappreciated, but he was doing it nonetheless because he really loves the medium. So sobrang infectious nung love niya for the craft. Parang, shit, gusto kong gawin to. I wanna be part of doing something that means something for us as a people and maybe can help form the formation of culture moving forward as a Filipino. So doon nag-start. Everyone who starts in film school wants to become a director. Yan naman siya eh. So you wanna express yourself. But then I knew that I didn't want to direct for money. I didn't want to make it a career. Then I explored other aspects of filmmaking. Tapos, because I enjoyed storytelling through light. Na even na kahit hindi ko siya story, I can be part of the storytelling process and enjoy the process through cinematography. So because, okay, sige, maybe I'll direct my own stories, but because as means of subsistence, I can do cinematography. So doon siya nag-start. Later on, sabi ko, parang ayoko ng politika ng directing. Ayoko.
Curious ako, ano yung experience, ano yung story about
the thing with directors, lalo in the industry, is you're the heart and soul of everything as a director. So, ang dami mong ginajuggle na relationships with your producers, with your clients, with critics, and then your crew, your personal life, are you artista? Lahat yun sa'yo. And a lot of it is responsible for everyone else's well-being. Ano sa set, emotional well-being, physical well-being. And the politics of money, Lahat yun, sa'yo yun eh. But as a cinematographer, for me, I know I only have to please my director and support my director in his or her vision. Sabi ko, simple to. Ayoko na komplikahin yung buhay ko. Diba? If I can be in support of someone telling his or her story, and I can be part of that, I think I'm okay. I'm good as a person. I'm fulfilled as a person. So yun.
You've mentioned that cinematography gives you creative fulfillment, but what aspect of cinematography did you like? Alam mo yun, parang okay, game cinematography na.
Feeling ko yung chosen, yung path mo, marami siyang aspects eh. One is your ability to fulfill that creative need. Another is your personal well-being, I would say. And basically who you are as a person. Sa ibang aspects, like I did different departments before. As a cinematographer, you're a big part of the core group that makes the film what it is. You can be one of the closest collaborators of your director, maybe apart from the writer. So I like that close relationship.
Right.
And
Right.
I think apart from the craft, yung ability to be in the room and yet shielded from all the politics happening in the room. It's parang perfect combination siya for me as a person.
Sabi mo na tried mo various different roles in the production, no? I mean, just curious to know, in your experience, ano yung pinaka-hardest na role?
Definitely not. I wouldn't do AD work kasi iba yung command ng mga assistant directors.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain type of person to be comfortable in that. Feeling ko yung most unappreciated in the current phase of our industry are sound recordists. Kasi yung sound mo is 50% of the film.
Yeah.
But in terms of priority, they're one of the last to be considered. The thing with sound is mahirap siyang ma-appreciate kasi hindi mo siya nakikita agad.
Yeah.
So you either have to focus really on your hearing na hindi siya yung first nating instinct.
Yeah.
Diba? Medyo sight-driven person. People tayo. Kaya ang hirap niyang i-appreciate. But when you do hear good sound, you see the difference.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain kind of discipline to get there na usually hindi natin na-afford to sound record this, unfortunately.
Kasi extra extent nga yun eh, na parang kung idadub mo pa after eh, na parang ganun ba?
But it will never sound the same. Para siyang ano eh. Kumbaga, it's like cinematography. You need your space and your time to create what you need to deliver on the cinematography. Pero mas madali siyang maibigay for producers, for directors kasi it's easy to see.
Yeah.
But sound is, they also need that space. Pero mas mahirap siyang ma-qualify kasi hindi siya yung first instinct natin to listen.
Yeah.
And to discern between ano ba yung good or yung bad.
Yeah.
Kasi hirap niya to switch on and off. So kaya ang hirap ng battle ng sound recording sa Pilipinas. So I guess in that sense, yung parang, they always want you to deliver good sound but you're not being given the right space to do so. So ang hirap ng ginagawa.
How did working in these different roles help you define who you are and what you want to focus? Like, which is cinematography.
In the process of doing different jobs, you not only figure out what you're good at, you also figure out what you like doing and what sits well with you as a person and what gives you peace at the end of the day. Kasi yun nga, parang me as a person, kunwari, nag-sound ako before, hindi na may bigay sa akin yung space. I get frustrated kasi I wanna do well, but I can't. Yung mga ganong instances. So siguro process of elimination, ganon. Mas nakikilala mo kung sino ka at para saan, kung ano yung bagay sa'yong gawin.
Question lang din, ano yung parang pinakakalaban yun pagdating sa mga film sets na pinagsushootan mo?
I would say direct yung pinakakalaban mo is your own frustration eh. Kasi, di ba, parang, lalo tayong creatives, we wanna do the best every time. So we wanna deliver, parang every work we do, we want to be the best. Regardless of time, regardless of the budget, regardless of everything. But then, ang realities nun is meron kang budget, meron kang time constraints, lahat. So, nagbe-build siya ng frustration. Tuloy na, hindi ko na magawa to. Kaya ko pa to pagandahin, pero hindi ko na magawa kasi wala na akong oras. Or meron ako idea maganda, pero hindi approved ng whoever, either the director or the client. Or we have 3 more shots, but I can't get my team to work faster. So my shot ends up half-baked. But then the more you get frustrated, and the more it affects everyone else on set, and also the work. To me personally, I know some works are produced in very toxic environments. Pero I don't think ako yun, and I don't want to be part of that also. So I guess yun, and it's something that I had to learn then through time, na whatever frustrations you have, try your best to not let it seep through your workmates to your team, kasi it's not their fault na you're frustrated. It's just para siyang life happens, di ba? Life happens, and kung ano yung bato sa'yo ng buhay, you can get frustrated if you don't get what you want, or you can't control what's happening. Pero hindi mo talaga siya nakokontrol. So, how do you still make life enjoyable and worth living even though it's not like the perfect scenario in your head?
So parang ano ba yan, yung accepting na perfectionism doesn't exist.
Ironic siya in a way kasi I think you have to strive for perfection every time and still have the grace to be a humane person. And I think yung dalawang yun, they can coexist and they should coexist.
Hirap no kapag sobrang attached ka dun sa work mo. Alam mo yung parang may feeling nga na kapag hindi nag-work or parang hindi siya maganda, na parang may ganun sa feeling mo na
Oo. Pero tama yung sinabi mo, yung you have to be kind to yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Everything we do now, you have to think of it as part of a bigger process of refinement.
Yeah.
Parang ganun mo na lang siya isipin. See, we have a tendency to think na pag may ginawa tayong it's the end of the world pag may ginawa tayong pangit, diba? We have the tendency. Yeah. Pero I guess, nag-evolve ka rin.
We suffer more in our minds more than in reality.
Super. Yeah. May certain type din of people na who performs best under
pressure.
With fear. May mga ganung type of people.
Would you say you're...
No lalo na pag sa film, feeling ko, once you're scared, operating, laging sinasabi sa akin ng mentor ko, si Dan Villegas, huwag kang takot. Commit ka sa galaw mo. Kasi ramdam Once you hesitate, ramdam And hesitation comes out of fear, di ba? Pag hindi ka nag-commit sa operation mo, halata, pangit. Every shot you do, you have to commit. Yun, sa kanunong kinalabasan, yun na yun, di ba? But the question there is how to calm yourself, your mind, so you can commit.
Yeah, under the pressure, no?
Oo
Question lang direct, like, ano yung mga tingin mong qualities ng isang magaling na cinematographer?
Feeling ko, it's someone who has a certain observation of the human condition and of society.
Can you expound?
And a good storyteller. Siguro. Kasi a lot of what we do in films is like a psychological understanding of human beings. It's just films are an exploration of the human condition in whatever aspect. So, pwede siyang environmental, physical, interpersonal relationships. And kung wala kang understanding ng human emotion or human psyche and human relationships, I don't think ilalabas mo siya. But also, being a good storyteller is being secure in your own voice. And it's something intrinsic and hindi siya ganun kadaling i-explain, but it's an extension of who you are as a person kung paano ka magkwento. I think. And yun, I think nagsiseparate ng great storytellers yung you can instantly see na it's different from most of the movies I've seen kasi very individual yung voice ng storyteller na yun.
Like, curious lang ako, Derek. Like, meron ka bang may isang bagay ka ba na gustong ikwento?
Hindi isang bagay, but maybe a condition. I've always had an interest for the subaltern. So, ito yung mga communities na di binibigyang lugar o di binibigyang importansya sa popular culture or ng sistema. So, marami kasing community sa Pilipinas na wala siya sa consciousness natin kasi hindi sila nakikita. Nakatago lang sila doon. And So they continue to live in that existence kasi we don't seek them out and we don't give them the space to tell their stories and be better human beings. So yun, so I've been very fortunate to be able to take part in telling LGBT stories and stories about communities na malayo sa sentro. Stories of the indigenous communities in the Philippines. And yun yung I think mga nakakabusog ng puso. And maybe sa akin, for me, it's also a part of, to me, contribution ko na lang siya sa Pilipino na, hey, look at these communities. Iba man sila sa mga nakasanayan natin, pero Pilipino din sila, sa katao din sila. And maybe through the way of this film, makita natin sila as human beings first. Ganun naman siya. Laging nakatatak sa utak ko yung conversation with filmmaker Sharad Sanchez. Tapos sabi niya, the purpose of art is to expose the cracks in the system. So yung cracks, ito yung mga bagay na hindi mo natitinan ano yung nasa loob. But these are exactly part of an erosion of a system na hindi siya nag-work or hindi siya naalagaan or hindi siya nag-expand. Yeah, it's not been taken care enough para maging maayos. Ang purpose ng art is to explore that crack. Yung mga hindi nag-work sa sistema. Tapos naniniwala ako dun. Maraming bagay tayo as human beings hindi natin pinag-uusapan masyado. We just know it's there but we don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
Maybe dahil we don't have the time to do it or we can't understand it enough or gusto natin siyang kalimutan. Mag-karaoke na lang tayo. Di ba? At yun yung purpose ng art. And we do that precisely so we can confront and become better. So yun siya. I think yun siya.
Parang meron nga akong narinig na quote, parang art is a permission to see the world in a different lens.
Yeah, exactly. Kasi the thing is, merong ability ang art to put a person in another person's shoes. Yeah. And I think, nung ginawa mo lang yun, pag ginawa mo yun, dun mo lang ma-appreciate yung ibang tao. Pag meron kang kakayanang ilagay yung sarili sa... I think for the most part, yun nga either wala tayong as a general population, wala tayong capability to dissect yung mga issues na to in different frameworks at yun yung pinaprovide ng artist and different lenses. And that's good. Kaya maganda at least in our country na art is getting more free, more liberated. We have different voices from different places in the Philippines, different ages, different cultural backgrounds, different genders. Kasi iba-ibang lens yung pagtingin eh.
Yeah.
If we see all of these lenses and maybe we can find a commonality that we can all share. Yun lang naman yung...
Parang yun na yung power ng film eh. No? Yun na yung power ng medium, ng art na yun.
I think so. So, ang hirap din kasi kumawala, direct, di ba? Ang hirap kumawala sa... Kasi we are so trained to define who we are. And that's out of necessity. But by defining who we are, ang hirap kumawala and be someone else. But if you can't be someone else, then you can't understand kung saan sila nanggagaling. You get what I mean? By the nature of growing up, we develop into a very insular being. Now we know ourselves, but the fact of knowing ourselves is also othering other people, knowing what we are not. And the ability to get into the other person's shoes, I think, is what art can provide.
Yeah. You view storytelling as a way to create meaning and impact. What's the most challenging story you've ever worked on and how did it push you creatively?
I would say not difficult but very foreign to me yung telling queer stories and having queer directors. And sometimes my stories na I would even label them LGBT, mas queer talaga yung something na hindi mo siya ma-place inside hindi mo siya ma-box. And yung experiences na minsan, kunwari, with Huling Palabas, hindi mo siya ma-explain in concrete terms yung core ng story, but you get a feeling of it. And because minsan, yung mga nuance of, say, male-to-male romantic relationship, yung mga nuance of it is maybe foreign to me. So you have to find that and to get into that psyche para makwento mo siya. And of course, you need a lot of help from from your collaborators, from your director. Laking bagay doon is having those conversations. Open conversations. Not only about the story, but a way of life nila and the psyche through these activities, whatever activities it is. And also a lot of trust na minsan di mo naiintindihan pero may pakiramdam. and ako parang in those instances, I just trust na sinishare ko yung humanity namin. Humanity ko and those characters that we're telling the story of. At kasi yun lagi yung commonality. Whatever the outward expression may be. I think yun, dun kami nagbaband eh. So,
Correct me if I'm wrong, pero ito yung you're talking about your last parang film ba to? Like short film ba to? Yung
Full
huling
length,
palabas.
full length.
Full length tong huling palabas.
But I've had two huling palabas and I think yung sila is complex stories siya to me kasi hindi caricatures yung mga characters.
Right.
These are real people. Hindi naman real people, but I mean, it's the characters are thoroughly fleshed out as complex figures. Like all of us people we're complex and minsan we're contradictory and minsan hindi natin ma-explain bakit we're this way and lahat yun magkasalungat pero that all exists in one person. And minsan inexplicable yung relationships mo with another person. Away bate kayo. Ang lakas yung mag-away pero alam mo mahal mo siya. Hindi siya, you can't wrap your head around it. But yun tayo as people. Di ba? Minsan, di mo ma-explain yung sarili mo. Pero
as someone na nag-create din ng ads, do you ever feel conflicted between creating meaningful art and meeting commercial expectations? Like, paano mo nina-navigate yun?
Hindi naman kasi I think doing something you have to understand the nature of the work that you're getting into. So, pag gumagawa ka naman ng ads, alam mo naman yung purpose, which is first and foremost to sell the product. So you're there to serve the purpose. And the meaning, hindi naman siya intrinsic sa image. And pwede mo siyang i-practice through your relationships with the people that you collaborate with.
Yeah.
So how you act on set, how you relate to your coworkers, how you try as much as you can, lalo na in this climate right now, fight for the rights of your team. Doon yung meaning eh. And it's a process. Hindi siya it's a long battle yung being more humane on set.
Meron bang certain experiences where that is coming from, no? Like, ano ba yung mga experiences mo on set that made you na parang, okay, let's be humane. Like, maging makatao tayo sa mga tao. Like, were there any...
No, honestly, kasi growing up and the time that we were coming to the industry, hindi mo siya nare-realize na abusive pala yung industry.
Ooh.
Kasi normal siya eh. Parang everyone's telling you the film industry works sun up the next day. Mga ganun siya eh. It's medyo rock and roll siya before. If you need to get the shot, akyat ka sa sasakyan. Laban na yan. Kunin natin yung shot. Ganun siya. Rock and roll siya na. Pero nag-iiba rin yung mundo. And with certain events in the world like the pandemic, na-realize mo, uy, oo nga no, abusive pala yung sets dati na more than 24 hours kami nag-shoot. Di pala siya normal. And we can do better as human beings. And so once you get that realization, try mo siyang i-actualize. Matagal nga lang kasi all of us were so used to that system na you have to change a whole framework of the industry to get there. You try and get there.
Yun yung parang kailangan i-break ng generation natin somehow eh.
Super. Oo.
Which is actually glad. Thankfully, meron na tayo nun.
Me too, oo.
Like,
saka
may protection na.
Yeah.
Right? May Eddie Garcia na tayo na nagpo-protect na okay, hanggang 12 hours lang ba? 14 hours lang ang maximum ng shoot ngayon. Which is... 16
With
na? Okay.
egress, yeah.
With egress. Okay, yun. Sorry, may experiences ka ba na 24 hours talaga kayo nag-shoot?
Oo, dati. Norm siya. The normal schedule is from 5 a.m. to 2, 3 a.m. the next day. Yun yung normal. Expected yun. And if particularly long day would be 7 a.m. Or pag merong ibang productions before na may second lunch, ibig sabihin. Mabot na second. Meron kami experience before na may break date yung pelikula. So, December 20, nag-shoot kami ng 23, umuwi kami ng December 24 ng lunchtime.
Right.
Tapos tulog ka lang, pag gising mo, Christmas na. Pero ano siya it's the same with the evolution of our culture. Di ba marami, lumaki tayo na pag bata ka, utos-utosan ka ng mga nakakatanda sa workplace. Ganun siya, iba tayong generation eh. And then we slowly learn na, ay, hindi pala yung tama. Diba? Kahit sa film sets before, also yung directors na naninigaw, DOPs na naninigaw. Tapos nag-evolve siya. Nag-evolve na rin siya along siguro with the evolution of the equipment.
Yeah.
And the way that we do the work, nag-evolve siya na, hindi pala kailangan yun. Hindi pala siya necessity to make a good film. We can make a good film pala.
Hindi natin kailangan mag-toxican, parang gano'n.
Totoo.
Ano ba yung parang nagiging problem doon, Derek? Bakit ba nagiging toxic siya?
Well, before kasi, film kasi, this is according to my understanding, na dahil film siya and everything was so precious, so everything has to be exact. So mas bawal kang magkamali kasi mahal ang kada role.
Yeah.
So I would guess, grabe, mas more so than now, grabe yung pressure mga before. Lalo na in our climate na walang pambili masyado, na wala siya budget for film. And then nag-evolve yung technology and then we can afford maybe more takes. It's easier to record. So bakit pa tayo mag-stay dun sa dating mindsets natin? At siguro generations din, di ba? Nag-evolve naman yung generations eh.
As someone na nakaka-work with people na younger and older than you, like I'm just curious to know, like you're in the middle and you see this young and you see the veterans, like ano yung mga bagay na that these generations can learn from one another in the field of film and cinematography?
Okay, sige. What the older I think can learn from the younger is mas attuned kasi yung younger generation to new forms of expression. Lagi namang nangyayari yun na nag-iiba lagi yung aesthetics, nag-iiba yung taste. Mas madaling makakatch up yung younger generation just by the virtue of them being younger and adaptable.
Yeah.
Diba? But what I admire naman from yung generations that started with film is yung discipline. Na because film was so precious, so the discipline on set was really there. You just don't roll the camera, you rehearse, you get it right, and then you roll. The behavior being on set is very specific. The workflow is very specific. Hindi pwedeng hindi ka mag-block and then you just roll and then you fix it. So very exact yung discipline. And siguro nag-iiba na rin kasi mas free, I guess, in a way. But for me, that doesn't necessarily mean na mas polished yung work. Depende rin siguro sa ginagawa mo. And if I get to work with artista, mga actors who went through film, ang grabe yung discipline. As you can really see, they stay up, they stay on the spot. If you want to block them, if you want to get their height, they hit their marks, they practice their marks. Yung deliveries nila same across any number of takes that you want to get kasi they have that discipline. So for me, yun yung na-admire ko. Sobrang ganda nung disiplina.
What is your dream set looks like?
Yung dream set ko siguro is one na lahat kayo friends, it doesn't feel like a set. It feels like you're working but you're also just spending time with each other. To me, that sounds like if I could do that every day, so it doesn't feel like work. Kasi,
ano ba yung mga bagay that makes it feel like work?
maraming bagay. Lalo na pag wala pang trust. The thing is, pag walang trust with the collaborators, because it's a high pressure job, you end up trying to defend or be cautious about your own corner, so to speak. So, hi-hedge ka and you're gonna protect your own department para hindi ikaw yung masisi. Kasi walang trust. again, the reason na kaya ako mag-director, that kind of feels like a political Game of Thrones battles. Nakakapagod siya. I think for me personally, nakakapagod siya. Na, for me, if you can throw out your ideas freely and not expect judgment from it and pwede kayo mag-share ng ideas, and yun yung, I think,
Yung perfect
environment.
environment.
Diba? And you get, for me, at least personally, I get more fulfillment from it.
Yeah.
And when you roll, knowing na after discussion and then you roll and you find something magical about it.
Yeah.
Ang sarap sa
Sarap na, no?
pakiramdam.
I'm just curious na, like, kung may isang bagay na gusto mong ma-take away yung mga taong nanonood lahat ng ginagawa mo. Ano yung gusto mong pinapakita?
Ayun yung ironic sa cinematography kasi because you're not the director. You're there to support your director.
Yeah.
So you're giving it your all, but it's not your film. It's not your name on the credits. So for me, if they see me instead of the film, hindi siya effective ng pelikula. If you get distracted by beautiful the images is, but you can't relate to the character and you don't get something from the humanity of that character, parang I would take that as a failure. Kasi you're there to relate to the characters on screen.
Yeah.
Not to see good imagery. That's an add-on. But to me, like cinema is a human experience. Hindi siya.
Yeah, totoo nga. Totoo nga yun. Cinema is a human experience.
It's ironic, di ba? Kasi parang, how do you like, give it your heart and then not want to be seen?
Yeah.
And then I think yun din naman yung, this is, mga batang cinematographers, that's something that you all struggle with. Especially if you're thinking about your career. Only you're as good as your last work. But you try to not be seen. For me personally, and I know some people then who have that mindset, maybe not all. Ayun yung reason kaya punta sa pelikula. Di siya theme park eh.
Yeah.
It's not about the bright lights eh. It's,
Gusto mong kapag lumabas ka ng sinehan, ibang tao ka eh.
Yeah. Oo. Mas enriching siya, hindi siya candy na kinain mo, but like nourishing.
True. Para sa'yo, ano yung best way to work with a director?
Ang lagi kong sinasabi, kasi parang, for me, yung gauge kung successful yung film is if you end up being friends with your collaborators, with your directors, after making the film. Kasi regardless of kung ano yung nagawa, ano yung outcome ng film, if sira yung relationship niya after the film, I don't think. I think that's for me personally, I think it's a successful film. The best relationships I've had is nabuo on the film set. Tas magkakaibigan pa kami ngayon.
Yeah, I feel.
Diba? Nawawala ng sense yung pelikula eh, if you lose a human connection along the way. It's supposed to bring us together as a species. But if you end up losing, parang hindi ka successful in making the film.
What are the qualities you look for a director for you to decide that you will work with them?
Maybe the storytelling voice is a big deal. And also if you're on the same page as people, I think importante din yun. Storytelling voice, parang una-una yung bibigay sa'yo yung script, and if the script is interesting to you and the way it was formed and the subject, the storytelling method, makikita mo na yun. And if it's something that you want to help tell, I think it's an important qualification. Second is if the way that the direction your director wants to go is the same as where you want to go. Kasi, again, yun, you're just gonna end up fighting if you're trying to pull in two different directions. And not out of necessity, just because you see things very differently as people. So yun, if you feel that what that person is trying to say and how he wants to say it is something that resonates with you, then madaling mag-yes. In an ideal setting na di mo kailangan ng trabaho at the moment at di mo kailangan ng pera at the moment.
Gets.
Yun lang naman siya. Pero yun eh, kasi the thing is you're gonna be spending at least 2 months, 3 months with the person. So if wala kayong relationship, if you can't find anything common, miserable time lang siya. time wasted siya for you.
Paano ka nahanap ng mga director? Parang, paano ba yung whole parang process na paano ka nakukuha sa isang pelikula or sa isang project? Paano yun? Like,
Ano siya eh, very relationship driven. I think ang industry sa Pilipinas. Also because it's a very personal thing, making a film, and you're gonna be spending your next 3-4 months with a person. So you have to be in. Ang hirap sabihin circle because circle sounds so small. But you have to be in the pool. So you have to have relationships with people in the industry. Kasi more often than not, referral
right.
siya nangyayari. Either that director knows someone who recommends your work or recommends you as a person, or they've seen your work somewhere. It's less pa nga yung they've seen your work somewhere. More often than not, either ni-refer ka ng someone else. Ganun siya nag-work. So, but actually, di ko rin alam for a director kung ano yung, I guess it differs from different directors kung ano yung qualifications nila why they would choose a cinematographer. But I would think, if I were a director, a big part of it is whether kasundo mo yung isang tao.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, you admire their work. And it's something that you're interested in discovering. Making a film is a process of discovery. Not only discovering the film, but discovering your collaborators and who they are as people as well. So, if hindi interested sa'yo yung collaborators mo in that sense, hindi ka nila kukunin. Siya.
Yeah.
Diba?
Gets. Yeah. So parang like being good is just the price for entry.
Hindi lang eh. The thing with kasi what sets apart film from other art forms is super expensive siya. It takes a lot of money to make a film. So for me, I think it's responsibility mo na lang talaga to be able to deliver on your job description on a film set. Diba? That's your responsibility to everyone that you work with. Kasi whatever decision you make is gonna cost money. So you have to make sure na you can deliver.
Like as someone na gusto pumasok sa industriya na to, no? Like kung network yung or referral yung pinaka best way, no? Paano ka ba mag-refer? Which is not okay. Kailangan magaling ka. Ano pa, Derek? Like kailangan mabuting tao ka.
I mean, yeah, I think least of your worries na nga yung, you can be like the minimum qualification of being good. But I think important you know how to relate to other people. But I kind of like the idea na referral system siya. It makes sense to me kasi
strongest word of way of vouching someone kasi parang kapag ni-recommend ka, pag ni-refer ka, ibig sabihin they vouched for it.
And because it's a collaborative art form. So if you don't collaborate, I mean if you don't mingle with people,
right,
then how would they know if you can collaborate if they can't have that relationship with you?
So in a sense ba, like from what I'm getting, no, parang yung skill ng pagiging or qualities ng pagiging magaling na cinematographer is not just on the technical side but also being you as a person.
Oo
no?
Talaga. Kasi I mean, lalo na in this day and age parang you can light a frame without going to school for it. Kasi ang dali na lang, everything's available right now. So yung technical skill is something that's quite achievable in this day and age. Plus you have a lot of collaborators who can save you in that aspect. Although for me, it's still required to know your tools before you can use them. But yun nga, kung sino ka, parang because you're telling a story about the human condition, if you don't have a relationship with your collaborators, then parang din siyang test of skill na can you tell a story about a human being if you can't even relate to your fellow human beings.
For the first time on these podcasts na gagawin, magkakaroon tayo ng The Breakdown.
Ito na ba yun? Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Kakaroon tayo ng The Breakdown segment dito, guys, na kung saan yung breakdown natin, Direct Tia's most recent projects. May Puso ba ang Manika? Directed by Shiri De Leon. Shiri, if you're watching this.
Shiri The Leon.
Da Leon. This has also been featured on Q Cinema. Maya natin muna pag-usapan. Panoodin muna natin. What was your initial reaction to the story of May Puso ba ang Isang Manika, and how did it influence your approach to the visuals?
So, I came into this project, nag-post si Sherry na she was looking for a cinematographer. Tapos, I think yung practice ko naman yun na if I see new directors on the scene, I try and follow them to see what their work is and if it's something that I'm interested in. So nakita ko yung post niya na yun. Again, connections. Instagram. And then, so sabi ko, sige, direct. Interested ako. Can you send me the script? So she sent me the script. To me, at the time, very clear yung tone ng script. Discussion siya on femininity and paano natin tinitignan ng kababaihan as a society at paano siya tinitignan ng isang bata na nagsisimula pang magkamuwang sa mundo. At how do we go from there, either to liberate ourselves or to stay in the status quo or break from the status quo. Parang yun yung mga iniisip ko while reading the script. So I was interested. So after reading the script, sabi ko, hey, direct, I wanna talk with you. Kasi reading the script is one thing, but finding out how your director's mind works gives volume and context and depth to kung ano yung, paano niya siya ikukwento. So, and then I chose the scene kasi ito siya yung maybe encapsulates what the film is about. And it's the house of, according nga kay Direk Shiri, yung home nung child character is yung katangi-tangi niyang safe space in this world dominated by men. Where he can be himself and or he can shake off yung lahat na ini-expect sa kanya ng society. And then nadi-discover niya kung ano yung woman, maybe in the sense of being a mother. And then there's this domineering male figure who's trying to break in and break into his safe zones and push his way in and really dominate the entire landscape. Kaya ang ganda rin ng decision ni Shiri na even though yung visuals mo nasa loob, merong ever-present yung tune nung mayor ni Bembol na wherever you go you can just feel the male gaze, the male presence na it's inescapable basically. Nandyan siya trying to dictate our every moves and be in every minute of our lives. So yun, gustuhan ko yun, and I think nandun siya sa scene, nandun yung tenderness and yung innocence ng bata and yung gaze niya sa what the doll is. Nagsisimula yung pagkamuwang niya into covering. Private parts may kailangan i-cover, kailangan pakita. And nabibigyan ng humanity itong inanimate figure na to. And then you have this, again, the shape lang of the shadow lang of Bembol trying to push in. Ang ganda rin na in our discussions, ang ganda na parang presence lang si Bembol. So hindi siya, you kind of forget na he's a person, but he's a representation of something else in this film, of a group of men. So maganda, I think ganda yung decision.
Like, meron bang, ako, like for me, like how I saw that, no? Like, medyo may takot. What I really love about this shot is yung it creates this feeling of eeriness na parang yung use ng shadow creates this figure na ano ba yung may hidden intention ba to? Like, yun lang yung for me. Like, just look lang at, like, ganun ba yung intention nyo dito? Like, may ganun ba siyang...
Yeah, that and a lot of other things. And the beauty of film is, I think, it can mean a lot of different things to different people, depending on your experiences and how you analyze the film based on your own experiences. But if may nag-resonate sa'yo yung emotion na yon, then to me, that's just a victory of the film na may naramdaman ka, at least for the character and his state of mind.
Yeah.
To me, that's a victory na kasi may naramdaman yung audiences. And again, the decision to not have a close-up of Bembol. I think, hindi ko sure kung matagal namin itong diniscuss ni Sherry, but parang tama din siya eh. Tama siya na dapat nasa mind ka nung bata at this point in time. And cling ka sa emotions niya. So, you don't go out of the safe space, but you feel the fear of that space being violated by someone else.
Curious lang ako, like, kung paano nyo to, siguro, maging technical lang tayo for just a minute. Practical lang ba to lahat? Paano nyo to set up?
May sundot.
May sundot?
May sundot niya. Kasi the thing is, a lot of I think, yung one of the biggest purposes of cinematography is choosing what to see and what not to see in the frame. And hindi lang siya illumination, but control of where your eyes should look. So yun yung choice na yun. We could have just gone siguro mga 100 candles and lit the frame evenly, pero hindi siya yung tone and yung purpose ng scene. Kaya kailangan siya. So parang I think I had maybe 3 lights, very maliliit na LEDs that you can put. Pwede mo siyang gawing candlelight.
Right.
And then a lot of gripping para makontrol kung saan tumatama yung ilaw. So it's a pretty simple scene, pero I like how this frame especially encapsulates yung gustong sabihin ng pelikula. Tapos yung purple na yan na window, meron kaming reference. So ang process namin ni Shiri, I would just throw a lot of different images at her. Tapos pag nag-resonate siya with it, okay, it's something that we both like. So, let's go with this. So meron kaming reference image ng mother and child. Tapos may purple hue. And it just felt so calming and peaceful, which is the emotion we were trying to go for in this scene. And then, pag-balance lang ng sarili mong taste kasi hindi siya nag-work with purple lights, lalo na yung source mo isa. So parang, how do you get that feeling and still make it feel natural? And so, I'm pretty happy with this frame.
For you, ano ba yung role that light and color plays in the...
Okay, so again, a lot of it is light. To me, the purpose of lighting is just pointing your audiences in the direction that you want them to see in the frame. So, ano yung important details. And then you direct the eye towards those. Yun yung purpose ng lighting and framing. And another level is whether the audiences will connect emotionally to that scene. So regardless of whether they understand it or not, kung may naramdaman sila dun sa eksena, again, I think it's nagawa mo yung trabaho mo. And that's where also color plays a part. And how you use color to portray emotions. So yun lang naman, I think the practice of cinematography is translating emotions visually. Yun naman siya. And if I'm happy, I can still feel something with this frame. Kailangan namin ito ginawa. Last year ba? Or early this year. It's may nararamdaman. When I see it, may nararamdaman pa rin ako. So, yeah, I like it. Kasi may resonance pa rin siya to me.
One of the things I love about films is kapag pinapanood mo siya ulit. Kumbaga, pag pinanood mo siya the second time, the third time, iba yung experiences.
Yeah. Oo. Kasi nag-grow din tayo as people. And siguro yung mga resonance natin sa film, pag iba na experiences natin, nag-iiba eh. Ang galing eh, no? But it's like a book eh, di ba? Nag-iiba yung appreciation mo ng book through different stages in your life. Meron din naman mga pelikula. Personally, may mga pelikula na ayoko na panoorin ulit.
Yeah.
Okay ako that one time. Tapos memory ko na lang siya. Not because it's bad, pero parang it's a good point in time,
Yeah.
I'll let it stay there.
Sige, ano na lang yung film na gusto mong binabalikan? Ito yung go-to mo.
Sa ngayon, the things I could watch again were siguro Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Ganda niya pa rin hanggang ngayon.
Yeah.
Saka, again, as you grow, nag-iiba na yung appreciation mo. Before, parang, wild, ang ano nito, action to, ganun yung appreciation ko. I was a kid. Ngayon naman, parang, appreciation ko, shit, paano nila ginawa to? Ganun yung appreciation ko. Siguro pag tanda ako, mag-iiba na rin yung appreciation ko. Kung may gusto kong balikan, yung mga pelikula ni Abbas Kiarostami, gusto ko siyang, he's an Iranian poet and filmmaker.
Okay.
Tapos yung mga pelikula niya, yung mga, hindi mo siya ma-explain kung ano yung nararamdaman mo, pero may nararamdaman ka. Alam mo yun? Parang siyang poem. Alam mo yung pag-poem, di ba? Parang, you can't figure out exactly what you feel, but yeah, you feel something. So yun yung mga pelikula niya. And I watched his films when I was a college student. I wonder what I'll get from it.
So parang parang purposefully you want to watch films talaga na nasi-shift yung beliefs mo, parang ganun.
Not
to explore ba? Like,
hindi naman siya to change my beliefs, but if I can commune with the characters in the film, sabihin na natin, if I commune with the actors portraying those characters in the film, and if I can relate to them, fulfilling siya for me.
Right.
There are also films that don't make you, I think yung mark ng a good film, if I were to put it into words, the mark of a good film is pag pinanood mo siya, mapapasearch ka afterwards. Either tungkol sa yung pelikula, or kunwari historical event, paparesearch ano nangyari dun sa, bihin na natin the Hotel Mumbai, at paparesearch ka sa Wikipedia ano ba talaga nangyari sa Hotel Mumbai, and the events preceding it and the events after it, or anything. But if it piques your interest enough that makes you want to search more and figure it out, find something more, I think. Kasi it means na nakarelate ka. May tumama sa'yo. Tumama sa'yo.
Grabe yung power nun, no? Yung effect on people, it gives people hope, it gives people dreams.
Sa akin ngayon, direct, parang siya eh. I would like to think films more of like a seed. Pwede na-experience mo siya ngayon, but you don't think much of it. And then later on, if you can encounter something else in your life, and then you draw a reference to the film, then it has grown, I think. Siya eh. It's the same way of living your life as a human being. The definition of success for us is if kilala ka or may nagawa kang malaki. If you have a statue in the town square, diba? But also just living your life and with the hope of possibly planting a seed that the future generations will refer back to in the future. I think malaking bagay na yun. You've done your part in shaping the future generations.
How did you learn to be comfortable in your own space as a cinematographer?
Am I? Yeah, I think that's the first question. I think it's a lot of self-discovery also, and being comfortable in who you are. It's a weird discovery. So, syempre, if you're young, diba, you want to pattern your career after someone else, and I want my career to turn out this way. I want to be making the films that this person is doing. But you're also a certain kind of person, and yung qualities mo exist for a certain kind of project, which you choose because you resonate with that project. And then I just found out along the way na, actually, mga natatanggap kong projects are projects that I wanted to do when I was starting out. It may not have been what I thought I was gonna do. Yung pattern ko, yung direct. I wanted to do this project. But those were stories that I told myself and I told the universe that I wanted to help tell. So may ganun discovery. And then siguro it's a long term is just being comfortable in that knowledge na you are in the niche that one is fit for you and who you wanted to become. Laging may ganun eh. I think yung biggest struggle natin as creators is being you but wanting to be someone else and achieving the success na someone else has achieved. Kasi by virtue of being a different person, success will look different for you. And your trajectory is gonna look different. Yung mahirap lang na process siguro is yung acceptance na kaya mo ito nakukuha dahil sino ka at ito yung these are what your skills are best suited for then para dito ka. It's yun, di ba? And I wouldn't say I don't overthink things over it, but it's something na para I try to process lagi na. And I'm thankful for every project that comes my way na that fulfills me as a person. Diba?
So parang nasa self-manifest mo din ba yung mga gusto mong gawin?
In a way, siguro, actually, meron akong nabasa kanina, which is very interesting na, sabi niya, what if your future is creating your present circumstance? Your future is already set. And dahil set na yun, time works backwards and it creates yung present opportunities mo to lead to that way. And I can make sense of it in a way na hindi naman kasi linear nga ang time. And the past, present, future exists all in one space. And nandun na siya. Yung experience lang natin as human beings, yung illusion of linearity ng time. I think, pag nag-attune yung what you want to be and who you are and what your capabilities are, baka dun yung greatest fulfillment mo. Pag nagtagpo-tagpo lahat. Yun. But it's easier said than done kasi, again, it's a process of accepting oneself. Hindi naman siya ganun kadali.
Yeah.
Yun nga yung hardest battle, I think, na pinagdadaanan natin every day is yung accepting our own conditions and ourselves and where we are placed in the world.
Meron bang certain experiences why you see it that way?
Mas introspection siya, I think. Introspection siya na ako kasi you always think about where I am now, ba't ako nandito? Ano na ba? Nasaan na ba ako? Am I still in the right path? Am I doing the right things? Meron akong pagka-control freak in that way. And then when you look back, when I was in college, I wanted to tell stories about subaltern communities, yung mga gusto ko, indigenous. And I have been given the opportunity to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Tapos, okay. Alright, so I am where I am supposed to be. Then I realized I just have to be better at being myself and parang i-filter pa, pagandahin pa kung ano yung mga pwede kong i-contribute being myself. I think when we're younger, kasi nga you always pattern yourself after the success of others. Lagi kang merong tinatry na i-push. I want to be like this, I want to be like. But nakukuha mo lang is fatigue if you try to be another person kasi you can never achieve that kind of. Siya yun eh. There's a reason why bakit niya nagagawa yan kasi he's really attuned to that kind of work and experience. So pagod ka lang if you try to be another person. Parang, I'm thankful na kaya kong gawin yung mga sinabi kong gusto kong gawin and all I have to do now is to do it better. And at least for me, the longer I practice, the more I realize na the process of making films is not much different from the act of living. It's the same struggles, same constraints, same sentiments. Sabi nga sa akin ng filmmaker si Gian Abraham, living is performative. The entirety of yourself is a performance that you show other people for whatever purpose. To me, that is to show na can be another way of living and it's not necessarily wrong. And the existence of others, na yung way of life is different from you, is not necessarily wrong. It's just different expressions of the same thing. And if I have a purpose in life, yun siguro yun, to be able to be a testament to that. Yun siguro, if you figure out yung purpose mo in life, then nag-iiba yung direction mo from trying to be successful sa mata ng ibang tao or trying to just be a testament to other people.
Nakarelate ako doon kasi nga yung idea nga na you pattern your success sa buhay ng ibang tao, di ba? Kasi nga hindi mo siya dinedefine sa sarili mo.
Yeah.
Kasi nga sobrang daling makita yung success ng iba eh.
Oo.
And kung ikaw hindi mo kilala yung sarili mo, hindi ka strong dun sa belief mo, sa paniniwala mo, sa values mo, masasway ka
Yeah.
ng ibang tao kasi i-dictate talaga yun ng kung ano yung nakikita mo. Which is, for example, kung we're living in this society, syempre kung ano yung dinidikta sa atin sa society, yun yung makikita mo. Yeah, kailangan mo nga talagang i-define sa'yo yung success. Pero siguro ang question ko direct is, how do you define success now as a cinematographer, filmmaker?
Actually, I would like to think na I'm trying to not concern myself with the idea of success. I'm just trying to figure out more ways that I can be of service to this nation in whatever way. So whether that is part of a film crew or making material that sheds light on how other people in our society live or being in an outreach with certain communities. Ganun ko na tinatry i-measure yung buhay ko. Of course, may need ka for subsistence.
Yeah.
But that is not the goal, but rather the means of to be so you can live your life as you want to live it. I think, diba? To me, to have the ability to be at peace in yourself and what you do, I think yun yung most important sa akin. I think baka at a certain age yun ang hinahanap natin, yung ano na lang, quiet na lang, di ba? Hindi na. Wala na yung fire nung gusto ko. But ano siya, stages yung buhay eh. Diba? Certain stage in life, you're like, I want to prove myself. But also a certain stage in life, parang wala na tahimik.
Same.
Saka cyclical kasi direct yung cyclical naman ng buhay eh. Angat ka, bagsak ka, angat ka. In whatever form eh. But if you pattern yung cycle ng buhay mo, gaano kataas yung iba or gaano sila katagal na hindi bumabagsak. Ano eh, parang di ka naging honest sa
Yeah. Just want to break down yung sinabi mo na what it really means to be of service. Pero for you, what does it really mean to be of service?
To me is, I am hoping that humankind can move forward to a place of acceptance and world peace. Peace either in oneself or in society. And acceptance of self and other people. And as cliche as it may sound, harmony, diba? Parang yun naman lagi nating hinahabol at hindi natin mararating, parati nating hinahabol, diba? Yun siguro if I can be of service towards that goal. Simply because continuous yung forces that seeks to drive communities apart and the society apart and division for whatever purpose. So, to maintain the status quo or for whatever purpose. Kung gusto mo lang, I think yung purpose lang natin as human beings for me is to live a better world than the one that you grew up in. And I want to be part of giving that to the next generation.
Love it.
What else can you do?
Yeah.
Whether we realize it or not, most of humankind, yun naman yung purpose. Ayun naman yung gusto. To hoard wealth for the future generation of their family lang.
Yeah.
Or,
True.
but then for me, expand mo na lang siya to include everyone.
Why do you think films are important in today's society?
I think, again, it's purpose ng art. Yung pa rin siya, it's an avenue that allows us to discover ourselves more as human beings. And sa exploration ng humanity na yun, either we understand each other more or we understand ourselves more. Or maybe not understand, but just have empathy for other people. Di siya finite, but I think it's another kind of hunger to have the need to figure out oneself and society. And I think we all have as human beings, regardless of whether we are aware of it or not. Kaya tayo may concepts of religion and may concepts of another being and may concepts of art kasi mayroon parte ng may parte sa atin as human beings na who are trying to figure out something about ourselves and
Our history.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oo. Hindi natin sabihin na it's a luxury kasi hindi siya finite. But meron siyang quantifiable effect on people. So valuable siya.
Yeah. So parang in a sense, parang it's really important for us, for the next generation, to be able to witness these films. No? Kasi nga, kung ang goal naman is to grow, films are a perfect way to get woke. De, joke lang.
Hindi siya, I would like to think of it as like one part of the fabric of humanity. Pwede nga you won't remember as we've talked before, diba? Pwede you won't remember the film, but certain parts of the film can be part of popular culture.
Yeah.
Like, Bagong Buwan for a generation ni Marilo Diaz sa Bayan. Hindi siya big part of you, but merong nagawa yung pelikula to maybe help us understand our Moro brothers or bigyan natin Julina and Marvin Agustin na you may not remember the films that they've done. Meron silang impact on pop culture.
Right.
Diba? Or kahit nga hindi pelikula pero sex bomb. So whatever we do, nung performance that we try to make can resonate into the future generations. And it's up to us to choose kung ano yung gusto nating ibigay para mag-resonate. Yun yung choice natin, siguro as artists.
How do you see it right now? Like, where do you want to go? Like, what are you looking to create now and in the upcoming years to come?
Personally, ganun pa rin. I'd be more than happy if I can keep continuing telling stories of the subaltern. But also, malaking bagay na rin malaking push na rin in my consciousness yung to try and leave better working conditions for the next generation. Kasi I think it's part of our evolution as human beings. And I think tayong Filipinos, we can be so much better in terms of the work we do and how we do the work. World class, I think we can be world class talaga eh. And we just have to overcome yung constraints that are placed on us. A lot of times the argument is it's a chicken and egg story na budget ba or nagawa ka na maganda versus budget and what the audience in the Philippines wants to see versus what you want to create, diba? Laging sinasabi ng filmmakers, ito yung gusto makita ng audiences. Sabi naman ng audiences, ito lang kasi yung ginagawa nyo kaya ito na pinapanood namin. But to me, irrelevant na siyang question to me personally. Kasi hindi ako concerned. I've never been concerned sa film as a business. But sa akin, it's more of just culture and exploration as film as art. Clear sa akin yun. And I'm concerned ko lang is, I think the movement has to start from us creators to define how the future is going to be in terms of how we tell our stories and what stories we tell. So yun, I think is a big part of my drive pushing forward.
Yeah. We do what we can do. Kahit small efforts, no? To make the industry grow in a way that, alam mo yun, we want it to be.
Oo.
Yeah.
Parang siyang, again siyang nationhood eh. Parang, and even the act of voting, I think if we were being realistic, the change in this country is something that we won't see ourselves generation, at least 3 generations siya. But you still participate in nation building para lang ma-start na yung move forward or mag-continue yung move forward at di mag-stagnate.
Can't stress enough how refreshing this conversation is to me in a way that you feel ko what I really love about this position is I get to see a lot of different perspectives of different people across different industries, niches. It humbles me in a way that there's a lot of things that you're not seeing. Parang challenges me in a way. Or challenges my viewpoint in a way Yeah, and I appreciate, no, Derek, maraming salamat. Pinagbigyan mo kami dito.
Thank you, Direk. Hindi, sa akin naman kasi ano siya, ang dami kasing facets ng filmmaking, ng media making, ng meaning making, and
Yeah.
we need all of those facets. And yun lang siguro sa akin, parang the way that I've developed as a human being and as an artist is less na yung concern ko about tech or but I think yung responsibility natin is as storytellers, and we have a responsibility and we have to define why we are telling these stories, what's the purpose of these stories, who they are for, and what we intend to do with our trajectory as artists. I think we may not realize it when we're starting out, pero yun ang very important questions to ask yourself.
But do you think that in order to do that, you must learn to know yourself?
Oo eh. Yeah. Again, yun lang naman siya eh. Parehas siyang trajectory ng buhay. If you change as a person, your art changes. And the worst thing I think you can do is to do something and not understand why you're doing it. It becomes labor. So wala naman sa atin may gusto ng labor.
Ganda nga na itong quote na to eh. Sabi nila, do things that looks like work to others but feels like play to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Oo.
When you do things that feels like play to you, like for example, if cinematography feels like play to you, right?
You won't have to work a day in your life.
Alright, guys. Maraming salamat, Direk.
Oh, yun na yun?
Guys, palakpakan naman natin si Direk Theo.
Thanks, Direk.
Yeah, where do people can follow you if they want to work with you?
Parang ano naman to?
Promote your socials.
Ito, first time kong gagawin to. Napaka-influencer nito. Hindi, Instagram ko na naman. Instagram is _Lozada, LOZADA.
What stars do you want to make if people want to work with you? Like, ano yung mga types of things that you want to do? Like, do you want to add music videos? Like,
I do anything. I think right now, the more important qualification is the person I'm doing it with. And if I'm excited to discover that person, then it's a fun journey.
Ganda nun. Alright, guys. Maraming salamat ulit.
Thank you, Direk.
Guys, if you love this episode, please comment naman kayo. Show us some love. No, react naman kayo, like, and also don't forget to subscribe. Until next week, maraming salamat, Direk.
Thank you. Sana may nakuha kayo.
Meron. Alright, guys. Always remember, what's behind the scene drives what's next. Keep creating.